Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to do a breakdown of the buying process and sort of the process that you go through when you buy products. But up until now, so far, we spent our time talking about kind of the decision-making process for the most part. The thing with the decision-making process is that you understand the thoughts of your customers when you're buying products, but the problem with only focusing on the decision-making process is most of it's focused on that moment that you exchange the money, or that moment that you click buy, right, on that exact moment. But in reality, the buying process is much bigger than that. It's a three-step process. And so today we're going to break down the whole process. And once you can see the whole process, then you can start to understand what's happening. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to identify the individual steps of a recent purchase you made. In today's video, we're going to use deodorant as our product that we're going to purchase. We're going to go through this process. The reason we choose deodorant is because even when you buy something that's sort of like a low involvement purchase, you still go through the process. It just kind of happens like this. Compared to when you buy a new car, a house, apartment, this process could potentially take months. But I want to show you something that's very quick and smooth and fast to show you that the process is exactly the same even when you buy something smaller. So the first step is problem recognition. The idea that I have a problem, I need to solve it. So in this example, I use my deodorant, oh, it's empty. I need something new. Or I use my deodorant, I look and I'm like, oh, it's getting low, I need something new. That's step number one. It's just a very basic problem recognition. I have a problem, I need to solve it. There are two steps in the problem recognition, or two steps that follow directly after problem recognition. The first one is the awareness set. The awareness set is all of the products that you can name. So think if I gave you a pen and paper and I said, write down every single brand of deodorant that you can think of. Don't look online or anything, just write them down. All of those that you wrote down on that piece of paper, that's the awareness set. Right? So the number one goal as a marketer is to get into the awareness set. If you're not in the awareness set, people can't even think about buying your product. So you have to get into the awareness set first. And once you're in the awareness set, then you go to the second step, which is called the consideration set. The consideration set are the products that you're actually considering buying. So for this example, when I buy deodorant, I'm thinking about 2, maybe 3 products. The first product is obviously Old Spice. The second product is native deodorant, which I'm thinking about nowadays, maybe because I'm trying to go green, be a little bit healthier. And then the third product we'll say is Gillette. So it's only 2 or 3 products. And even if you're brand loyal, you still often have one other brand that you kind of look at just to kind of double check to make sure, is it still working well? Is the brand I'm loyal to, is it still keeping up? Should I look at something else? So once you started thinking about the 2 consideration products, you go on to the next step. Before we get to the next step, I want to go back just a second and talk about something really quickly. And the idea is, can brands actually trigger you to buy something? Can they influence the problem recognition? Do they have can they put some weight into it to sort of make you think I have a problem, I need to solve it? And the answer is yes. And so I'm going to give you a couple examples of how deodorant does this specifically. And so the first example is Old Spice, right? Old Spice says, smell like a man. What do you mean I don't smell like a man? I don't smell like a man. What do I smell like? Right? Oh, I better get Old Spice deodorant so I smell like a man, even though I'm not really sure what a man is supposed to smell like. But now I know if I don't use it, I don't smell like a man. Axe, if you ever looked at Axe commercials or ads, they're 100% about masculinity, playing on basically teenage boys' insecurities, right? Everything is saying stupid things like, oh, if you don't use Axe deodorant, you're not going to get a girlfriend. That's basically what it comes down to. And so they're absolutely telling these young boys that you need to use this deodorant so that you can meet girls. It's pretty ridiculous, but that's what they're doing. But even women's brands do it as well. Dove, they said, let your shameless armpit run through the streets, right? Their new ads are about, don't be ashamed, go sleeveless in public. I don't know, for me, I'm thinking was there something wrong with my armpits? I didn't know that was a thing, but now Dove has told us that, hey, you know what, if you don't use their products, you probably should wear sleeves in public, even though people have been going sleeveless in public for a million years. But now this is suddenly a thing that I should be very conscious of. So they're kind of planting a seed. But these have been going on for nearly 100 years now in the deodorant industry. People didn't always wear deodorant. Deodorant is a brand new concept and the whole scheme of things. And I'm just look at this ad 1937 for a brand called Mom Deo. It's flipping hilarious at how bad they're trying to plant this problem recognition for women back in those days. So the next step is called the purchase phase. It's from whom to buy and when to buy. So the first one, whom to buy. This is a really big thing with something like deodorant. You don't go to the deodorant store, right? So you're thinking you have Target, Walmart, maybe Costco, and then you have smaller stores like CVS or Walgreens. Then you have online like Amazon or maybe Target.com or different other websites. And then you have the subscribe and save on Amazon Prime. And then you also have other subscription things like Birchbox. So where am I going to buy it, right? How do I know which one of these to buy it from? And so marketers have to think about where are customers generally buying our products from. And then it's when to buy, right? In deodorant, you have kind of two different types. You have the one who uses deodorant and runs out. Oh, I need to get more deodorant. And then you have the second type who starts thinking, it's getting low. So I should start planning to buy some more deodorant soon. Brands are using things like coupons and promotions to sort of nudge you into buying it sooner rather than waiting. And these are why you have promotions and you have coupons. When you're in the when to buy and the where to buy, sometimes you run into situations that are a bit tricky or kind of like not that easy to go through. And what I mean by that is a lot of us will say like, well, I need deodorant. And so you go to Target with this idea of I need deodorant, no brand. And this is where the brands have to work really, really hard at that last second to try to get the sale from the customers who are just looking for deodorant. We're at Target to check out and see what brands do to try to get people to buy their products. Because as I was saying, a lot of people are just looking for deodorant. So let's take a look at the aisle. What's the first thing you see? Old Spice, red and white, number one in the aisle, grabbing your attention. Old Spice is paying a lot of money for this. Because you get caught up in this, you don't even notice what's next. So how's someone gonna see these, let alone someone all the way down the bottom here, like Meerchum? Getting that is gonna be nearly impossible for them. The other side is Meerchum's not paying for that spot. Old Spice is paying a lot of money. But sometimes what brands will do is they'll do what Native's doing over here, and they'll do what's called an end cap. Or sometimes they'll even go all the way on the middle. But brands pay a lot of money to be there, but they're there because they know customers can't not look at it. The third and final step is the post-purchase. Once upon a time, this was probably the most irrelevant step in the buying process, but today it has completely changed, and now it's probably the most relevant or the most important step. It's two main reasons why it's the most important step. Number one, people actually care about what they're going to do with their product when they're finished with it. They want to know, can I resell it? Is it recyclable? Is it disposable? And if you noticed, some deodorants now coming in paper containers instead of plastic containers, so they're 100% disposable. The second one is something that never used to matter, but in today's world, it is extremely important, and this is reviews. So now we're going to jump into Amazon, and I'm going to show you how important reviews have become. So the first one, let's check out deodorant, which we've been talking about. So top one, we'll go to deodorant for men. You scroll down to the first row, and right away you can see how much Amazon puts emphasis on this. The first thing you see is the picture. The second thing you see is the title. The third thing is the stars, and the fourth thing is the number of ratings. So we have pictures, name, look at this, stars 4.7 out of 10,000, basically 11,000 reviews. That is crazy. But the reason I show you this is because you can see how much value they put on that is before the price. I want to come up here and I want to show you a brand that's easier to look at. The reviews are fit exactly what I'm talking about. So let's go down to the second row, and you can look at these last two right here and you can see the difference. The price is only $5. The desks are different, but the biggest change between the two is 1,700 reviews, and this first one only has 82 reviews. And this is something that I think has a lot of value. And as a customer, I want you to think about it. Have you ever bought a product based on the number of reviews and not actually the price or the ratings that they actually get? And a lot of times customers, and myself included, I think we think like, oh, well, it sold 1,700, it must be popular. But we don't actually know how many they're selling. Potentially the product that has only 82 reviews is actually selling 10,000 units a month, and the other one's only selling 1,000 units a month. But maybe they're better at getting reviews than the other brand. So this is just something I wanted to point out, and I think you should kind of take into account when you're buying products online. Once I know those wants, needs, and fears, I start to think about things like patterns. I look for patterns. And what I notice is that I have three types of customers, and I can see three distinct patterns that customers follow when they buy our products. And once I figure out which group is the best for our brand, I can start to design a purchasing process that will match the pattern of our customers. And now it's a win-win for the customers. They love the product, they love the process, they're super happy, they become loyal. And as a brand, we make money and everyone is happy. It's all about watching your customers, looking for those patterns, developing a marketing campaign that meets that pattern so that your customers can buy your product with least resistance, and then they're happy. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this video. I really appreciate it. Hopefully by the end of this lesson, you were able to identify the individual steps of a recent purchase you made. If you think about the steps you went through, it's kind of interesting. So thanks so much. Have a great day. I super duper appreciate it. We have more videos coming soon. Take care. Bye.